What's up, guys? Jay Cutler from Fitness Culture. Today I'm with Alan Bishop, Coach Alan Bishop on Instagram and Twitter if you want to follow him. Alan's one of my mentors, and he is the Director of Sports Performance here at the University of Houston, and he oversees men's basketball specifically. He's the man. Today we're going to be going over an advanced training technique called Isometronics, also known as functional isometrics. So Alan's going to go over it, break it down, tell us what it's all about. Let's get into it.
So what we're gonna be talking about is what's called functional isometrics or isometronics. And kind of a cool story on that, depending on where you get your information from in the world, is gonna have different terminology. So isometronics was popularized by a guy by the name of Charles Poliquin, a guy that I learned a lot from. Okay, so what this is a really good technique for driving up 1 rep max. You gotta remember that the same program that gets you from a 300 to a 400 pound bench is not gonna be the same program that takes you from a 400 to a 425 pound bench. And the reason is you gotta change up the stimulus. And once you start getting to those higher ranges, really what got you there is not gonna be worth very much from here on out. So this is an advanced training technique. I really recommend it for guys that have, a few years under their belt, maybe have plateaued. The setup on it's a little bit different. You are gonna need a power rack and you're gonna need pins. You're gonna combine a pin press with overcoming isometric. And so it's important to remember with these overcoming isometrics, there's 3 muscle actions that are gonna be on display during training. One is gonna be the concentric, which is the shortening. The second is gonna be the eccentric, which is the lengthening. But that third is gonna be an isometric. And what an isometric is when you're applying force, but the bar is not moving. Now this is really important concept to know because when it comes to driving up strength, strength is joint angle specific, meaning the joint angle that you're in when you're applying force is where strength is going to occur. So for this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it through the bottom range, the mid range, and the end range. As we're working through these different ranges, we're gonna be incorporating 2 techniques. The first is gonna be a pin press. And what we're doing is we're overcoming inertia. We're taking all the stretch reflex, we're taking all the built up energy that happens during the eccentric, we're taking it out of the movement. We're just applying concentric force. The second is gonna be that overcoming isometric. We're gonna drive into a pin as hard as possible, trying to break the bar in half, trying to recruit as many motor units as possible. And this is really important because those high threshold motor units are what's responsible for driving up strength and they have the most growth potential. So if you're also looking to pack on mass, this is a really good technique to activate those motor units for the training session. For today's training session, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have 3 different setups for these functional isometrics. The first one is gonna be right off the chest, and you wanna have about 4 to 6 or 6 to 8 inches of the range of motion depending on how long your arms are because it is going to raise up every few sets. For the first 2 sets, what we're gonna do is we're gonna work right off the chest. We're gonna press up explosively into the pin. As soon as you tap, you're gonna lower it back down under control and you're gonna pause on the pin to take out that stretch reflex. We're not trying to use up any stored energy on the way up. We wanna be a true pin press. On the last rep, you're gonna drive into that pin as hard as possible, trying to recruit as many motor units as possible, trying to break the bar in half in the pins. So here we go. Here we go. Drive it on the last one. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, good. Now we're gonna work through the mid-range. So if you look at the bar, we're right off of the chest by another couple inches. And we're gonna do the same thing, 4 to 6, 6 to 8, depending on arm length is how many inches you want between the pins. We're gonna do the exact same setup. So it's gonna be 4 reps with a 6-second drive on the last rep. Here we go. Good. There you go. 6, 5, 4. Drive it. 2, 1. Good. The third setup is going to be starting in the most advantageous position, which is headed towards lockout. You should finish with your elbow about 1 inch short of lockout. And this is great for people who've plateaued, they have good strength, they just can't quite finish a full rep, okay? And so with this, as you're looking at what we did, 1 right off the chest is where you're gonna be your weakest. The second, that mid-range, is gonna be your second weakest. But this is where you're the strongest. So make sure with this, don't let your ego get in the way. This is not the time to add weight. What you wanna do is take it from start to finish with the same weight for the same rep schemes, and then you'd wanna add to it the following week. Here we go. There you go. Last one. Drive it, drive it. You got 4, 3, 2, 1. Good.
All right, guys, that wraps it up today with Coach Alan Bishop for our quick tutorial on Isometronics. So another lift that we really like this with is gonna be the deadlift, just because it's super safe, the bar's in your hands. Obviously, if you start breaking down, you can just drop the bar and move on. Whereas opposed to a back squat, things can sometimes get a little bit sketchy. So if you guys like Alan, which I'm sure you do, please go follow him on Instagram and Twitter. He crushes it on Twitter. He's putting out knowledge all the time, so I definitely follow him on Twitter. And please leave us a comment in the comments below on anything you want us to cover next. And we're also gonna put in the description just kind of a breakdown of how we would program this in for a day. Alan's gonna write that up for you guys. So if you wanna check that out, you can click the link and download that. Thanks for tuning in.